Greetings from Govardhan. I have an audience here, and today was the opening of Sri Rupa Seva Kunj with their 6 beautiful deities. I think I'll go to see them tomorrow. I'm talking to the audience, I'm talking to the people here. But the schedule is they had an Abhishek exclusive for senior Vaishnavas. Then they came to the temple, and then there was a speech on each of the 6 Goswamis and an introduction by Bhakti Vigyan Goswami. And there were other speakers. Burijan, Sachinandana Swami, Radhanath Swami, Bhakti Chaitanya, Bibi Govinda Swami. Who? Mukunda Datta, Panchagota and Shrutakirti. What did they speak on?
About Prabhupada. In the end, after they spoke about all the Goswamis, they invited Panchagota to speak about Prabhupada, and then Panchagota said that after he spoke, he said the best person to speak is Shrutakirti. Then Shrutakirti spoke about Prabhupada.
It's quite a project, huh? Yeah. And then I was outside and I saw Krishna-das talking with Sachinandana Swami, the famous kirtanier. What?
We were just talking about him today.
Really? Yeah. I saw Krishna-das with Sachinandana Swami and Kaila Lalita, where I lived in their barn for like 20 years. And their barn, how they renovated it for me was nicer than their house. Even though, as my friend Arjuna would say, they have more money than God. So I saw she was there too. Okay, the light actually works to some degree. So let's go to Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. And isn't it amazing how memory is so short that we completely forget what we were talking about before, and therefore I have to go. But we'll start with this verse here. Oh. Okay. We'll start with 145. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Ittham minam katipaye prayāte prātar ekadā. Kautukād brahmaṇā spṛṣṭaḥ pheṇa-puñjo suro bhavat. After I had spent some days in this way, early one morning, out of curiosity, Brahmā touched a mass of foam and it turned into a demon. Purport: Gopkumar was harboring the desire to become Brahmā so that he can enjoy Brahma's special relationship with the Lord of the universe. He thought of this desire while chanting his japa, and thus, after only a few Brahma's days, Gopkumar was given what he wanted. A large residue of foam was left from the previous ocean of devastation, and Brahmā touched it, unmindful of any serious consequence. The foam turned into a terrible demon, huge and extremely strong due to being born from the vast water of devastation. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Panchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So should we put this in context? Uttara heard about Bhagavat Kripasar, the devotee who has the essence of Krishna's mercy, and we went to Narada's journey. Old people have been in this class. And then Uttara wanted to hear more. This story is being told by Marge Prickett to his, Uttara wanted to hear more. Her son is giving her the essence of the Bhagavatam and wanted to hear more. She wanted to know about the place. We discussed how much you can tell about a person's consciousness from their place. Especially, it's the science of sacred space in the Upadeshamrita. That one place is higher than another by the facility the place gives you to exchange love. And so it's kind of another way of revealing the essence of the Bhagavatam and the essence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement and the essence of what Sanatana Goswami is trying to do, which is to explain our goal of Braja Bhakti. It's bhakti, it's a consciousness that people have, Braja, but it manifests in a place. So you can see even the term Braja Bhakti, it's bhakti that manifests in a particular place. Interesting, isn't it, Yogamaya?
Yeah,
I just thought of that, right?
yeah.
Okay. And so it's told in the term, it's told in terms of Marge Prickett's, in terms of this journey of Gop Kumar, who's explaining it to a Mathura Brahmin who got this mantra from a deity and doesn't, is looking for the Ishtadeva, the deity. The mantra that you chant, you want to find that deity, or you want that deity to manifest. In this place, you want to find the place where the deity is manifest. So Gop Kumar tells his own story, and he goes to different places, and he has this, he's very qualified, but he doesn't have complete sambandha, complete like metaphysical understanding. So he's carried by his heart. So when you're carried by your heart, you go towards your goal, but you may not go directly. But you'll understand where it's not by how you feel. So he's in particular places, and again, he loves God, but he has a specific relationship with God. So he's never completely satisfied in places where God is not revealing himself in the relationship he's seeking. And even in a classical Indian home, the husband and wife have a center quarters where none of the children can go. Right? It's a place where they can be intimate. So different places require a different aspect of oneself. So different spiritual places, we're finding out in his journey, God is manifesting in different ways. So because it's that person that you love, you're happy to be with them. But because that person is not in a place where they can manifest their particular relationship with you, you're not. But he doesn't understand this philosophically, so there's always this kind of dichotomy that goes on, where he finds a place and he's real satisfied, and he has a relationship, but he's a Bṛhad-bhāsi. So he has a certain simplicity, he has a certain sweetness in his love, and that has to be satisfied. And it's kind of satisfied, but not fully, when he has a relationship with God, but not really the one that is deepest within his heart. And I guess this is Sanatana Goswami's, or this story is going to illustrate, the full manifestation of God, Akila Rasamrita Murti, the intimate God. In other words, God, I like to use the phrase that Krishna is God when his guard is down. I like to use the phrase that position covers personality. So when Krishna appears as a cowherd boy, he can be the supreme person. You can't be in the supreme position and be the supreme person at the same time, because the position will restrict the intimacy and the full manifestation of your heart. So we'll see in each place, it'll kind of highlight the qualities of Gop Kumar, which are the qualities that we require to also enter into Braj. And those qualities will become kind of evident in how he becomes attracted to God, but how he wants something more in that relationship, and how that sweetness that's in his heart, because again, he got initiated into this mantra by his guru, the Gopal mantra. So, and his fixedness in guru, his fixedness in mantra, his simplicity. In other words, the first part of the book, the Narada's part of the book, explains the tattva. This is what bhakti is. The second part of the book explains the journey. How do you get this? How do you move in that direction? So now let's go to the place we are and put it in context. And maybe you'll remember where we were. So where he is now, he's in Satyaloka. And how did he get to Satyaloka? Well, the place he was there before was Tapaloka. And Tapaloka, it was a little bit difficult for him, because when he was on Mahaloka, the Lord was manifest in Yogeshwara, because all the Maharshis, the great saints, they were doing these sacrifices. So God would manifest in these sacrifices, and it was so beautiful. Tapaloka, everything was internal. So he would go to different places, people's places, they wouldn't want to talk to him. It was like the ultimate planet of the introverts. They all were like internal. Actually, one time I met this guy in Vrindavan who was a famous Jungian psychologist. And he wrote a book called Young to Live By, right? And somehow he met me, and we started talking. And when he was studying psychology at NYU, he walked through Tompkins Square Park and saw Prabhupada and the devotees and had an out-of-body experience that he never forgot.
Wow.
Yeah. And I met him in New York too, but he soon died of some kind of disease or something. I saw it because I was in the 4th floor of the Brooklyn Temple. He almost died walking up the stairs. There's no elevator. And, but he told me, he said, introvert and extrovert, it's not like a psychological aberration. It just indicates a psychological proclivity, that introverts feel very comfortable inside, and they're not so comfortable outside, where extroverts are comfortable outside and not comfortable inside. So you'll see different types of people. And I'm an extrovert who's become an introvert by bhakti. So, no, really. become an introvert by bhakti. Then you really like to be alone sometimes. I'm seeing Yogamaya saying, yeah, I'm an introvert. No, you're not. You're like me. You're both. So Tapaloka was kind of, and then at each place that he goes is this interplanetary travel, and somehow Lord Brahma comes, and everybody's like worshiping him. Gop Kumar doesn't even know who he is. They're laughing at him. I would describe it in a modern way. If Trump walked down the Parikram path and someone said, "Who is this?" I don't know if you'd be impressed or you'd laugh at the person. Yeah, I once gave this example of how bhakti is, the process is simple as the application is difficult, because anybody can bow down. But can you imagine Trump and Putin going, please accept my humble obeisances? Anybody can do it. But can you imagine how difficult it would be for Putin to pay obeisances to Trump, or Trump to pay obeisances to Putin, right? Imagine them coming in, please accept my humble obeisances, and then hugging. So Tapaloka was a little difficult for him, but he was preached to. And the very interesting thing that happens in the preaching, because one of the Navyagendras, Pipalayana Rishi, was explaining that the benefit of the mind rather than the external senses. Now, I went over this with Niranjan Swami because we're coming to a part, I'm studying with him, further advance, where the Vaikuntha-vasis are preaching to Gop Kumar about the superiority of devotional service and how Sankirtan is so much better than Smaran. And they're presenting Smaran as, but when we got to the part of Pipalayana Rishi, the purports usually don't profess truth, they profess what is being spoken. But they were like, it was like this is the highest, they were agreeing. But it comes down, when we get to that point, it's exciting. The Vaikuntha-vasis, how they'll present in so many different ways, how not only Sankirtan, not only Kirtan, but Nam Sankirtan is the most powerful process. So anyway, Lord Brahma comes, and who is he? And they're laughing at him, and they explain all these glories of Lord Brahma. And one of the things of Lord Brahma in Satyaloka is he has his own planet. Let's see how I look here. Okay, it's okay. He has his own planet. On his planet, there's a special enclave where Mahavishnu is being worshipped, Mahapurush is being worshipped. And he becomes very attracted to that because he wants, love means you want intimacy. You want service, you want proximity, and you want intimacy. And he's watching that the Lord is instructing Brahma with such affection. With such affection, he's instructing Lord Brahma. Anyway, he chants his mantra, and the power of the mantra, this Gopal mantra that we get in second initiation, the power of that mantra, it can fulfill desires. Akama sarvakamo va moksha kama udhara tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purshamparam. Whether you have no desire, all desire, desire liberation, desire Krishna, it's powerful. So the mantra he's so fixed on that mantra that it immediately carries him to Satyaloka. And he's watching this, that Lord Brahma is instructing with such affection, and he desires that. And not only desires that, but he becomes very attached. So you can become attached to a person, but maybe not have the intimacy yet, but become attached to the person. Maybe want that intimacy, but not have it, but attached to that person. And when he goes, Lord Brahma, he becomes devastated, because this is real attachment is seen in separation. Like Prabhupada's disappearance day. I remember when Narayana Maharaj was once speaking that, you have to shed a tear. You have to shed a tear. That shows real attachment. And so he's devastated. Then Lakshmi takes him on his lap and is like kind of, stroking his head and satisfies him. And the experience is so powerful that even though he disappears and he feels anxiety, he comes back. That rush of joy is enough to keep him really satisfied. Almost thinking, okay, I've achieved it now. Maybe I don't need Bṛhad so much. So he develops this desire for intimacy, and it's very powerful. And then somehow or other, it's fulfilled in this strange way with Lord Brahma. And it's also cool too, because when there's devastation, there's an ocean of the universal ocean, the causal ocean of devastation. But Satyaloka is protected. And the people from Janaloka and the other lokas come, and they're praising Vishnu. So there's a lot of beautiful prayers and bhakti going on. And we always appreciate, like if we hear Gregorian chants, it may be in this mood of Aishvarya, but it's so beautiful. Or you hear spirituals, gospel singing. Wow. This is my father was a dress contractor, and he had a loft in Harlem. And he had about 35 women working for him. And I remember the presses, the people who would press the garments. As they were pressing, they were singing gospel songs. Oh, was a victim, shh, Lord, is it? And they were like, and then shh, they would. 125th and Lexington Avenue, my father had a loft, rented a loft. So he's very attractive. And then, so he had this desire, wow, I would like to be Lord Brahma and get close to the Guru and get that real close association. I would really like that. So I'd rather hear the Prajalpa of the Bṛhad-bhāsis than attain love of Godhead any place else. Mm-hmm. What is it? Prabodhananda Saraswati and Vrindavan Mahimamrita, as they're screaming outside. I was going to tell the people here also is that I'm going to just diverse and tell the people here, but it'll be interesting to the people here because we're together here in Kartik. There's a force that moves towards Krishna. And when you move towards Krishna, you're floating here. It's the most pleasant place in the world. But if you turn around out of ego, the same force that's so pleasant, pushing you in a direction is going against you. And I describe it, it's the wind. If the wind's going east and you're on a sailboat, then it's very pleasant. But if you want to go west, it's not. But the problem is not the wind. The problem is the direction you're in. And it's just like that in Vrindavan. And I'm telling my own personal experience. You know, we had the Kartik Vratam, we're going along, and then all of a sudden, boom, Govardhan Puja, and I'm going at one place to another, and then Prabhupada's disappearance, and people are coming. And I got thrown off a little of my game. and then, you know, you start feeling the energy going against you that was going towards you. So now, after Prabhupada's disappearance day, we're going to have to go with renewed vigor in the same direction. Because, you know, and the other thing too is, if you're not moving forward, it's like a river. If you're not moving forward, you're going backwards. So it's not. So it's just, I just saw that myself. You know, you get thrown off, and then there's people here, and then different things, and the schedule, and the eating, and everything goes, and you know, then all of a sudden you start feeling the energy against the mind. So we have to. Tomorrow I'm invited for lunch with the Kinshanists. I won't be here for lunch. But I don't know, I probably have to get out around that Govardhan Hill again. That's what happened too. For one day by schedule, I missed going out to Govardhan. And I do it twice a week, and that's just enough to keep me healthy. And I missed it at the beginning of the week. So I'll have to go around again. And also, I don't know why it rains so heavy. It usually doesn't rain this year, at this time of the year. Anyway, let's get back to here. So now Lord Brahma, somehow or other, Lord Brahma is the dispenser of karma, but it also affects him. And karma kind of connects things. So it somehow, Gop Kumar's desire coincided with Brahma's tragic experience of this foam becoming a demon. And Tad-vidya liyata Brahma, daityo bhagavatāhata, Bhaya-kranto vidhir naiti, tad-pade yukta mam prabhu. Terrified of him, Brahma fled. The personality of God had killed the demon, but Brahma, overcome by fear, did not come back, and the Lord assigned me to his post. Purport. Brahma hid in a place where no one could find him. His fear prevented him from returning, even after Lord Narayan had killed the demon. So even Brahma, a Brahma bhuvana loke, because Satyaloka was promoted as a place with no fear, no this, no this. But unless you are in the transcendental eternal position, it's ultimately not stable. A Brahma bhuvana loke, puna avritanojana, again you come down. And not only that, Brahma needs a psychologist. He's having a traumatic experience, right? It was so terrifying, the samskara of touching this foam and this demon coming after you. It's like lingering on even after the demon goes. He's got post-traumatic stress disorder. I am going to write on the basis of the Bhagavatam all the psychological. I'm sure there's some bipolar in there too. Of people well, the gopis are bipolar in that way, ecstatic, and then depressed and ecstatic and depressed and ecstatic and depressed. But that's that's not a good example, because that's on a platform where we're told, hear with faith and don't try to understand it logically, because it's all born out of love. Like someone asked me, what's Prabhupada's disappearance festival like? I said, it's sadness and ecstasy. They say, how can it be sadness and ecstasy? Because separation is sadness, but it's a manifestation of love, which is ecstasy. So, and they said, how is that possible? I said, it's like if you go to watch a tragedy. If you watch a tragedy, then you feel sad, but you enjoy it. Like I read this book, Salted Bread.
Oh,
You read that, is it?
I have it at home. I started, but then it was too much.
I read it like 5 times.
What?
I read it maybe 5, 6 times.
5, 6 times.
Yeah, I like to read this book.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah, see, Brother Davy couldn't even read it. It's just too sad. And the ending would crush you, Brother Davy.
Yeah.
Don't read the ending.
You read it?
But you enjoy it. Okay, we'll go on. Aham tu Vaishnavam eva, Srijam tad bhakti vridaye, Najujan adhikareshu, Vaishnavam eva sarvata. I sent Vaishnavas into the creation to increase devotional service to the Lord. Indeed, what happened? Oh, I did not, and the Lord assigned me to his post. So every single place they make Gop Kumar in charge. It's kind of like a karma, right? That, certain things happen repeatedly, sometimes good, sometimes bad. They happen repeatedly, right? I know this one lady, she had 4 or 5 husbands. It happens again and again. The same things happen again and again. It's repeated. So he keeps on getting promoted and keeps on getting promoted. He was the king of Puri. He was the king of heaven. In Mahalok, they wanted to make him a Brahmin, but he didn't want to accept it. So here he becomes Lord Brahmā. And what does he do? I sent Vaishnavas into the creation to increase devotional service to the Lord. Indeed, I engaged only Vaishnavas everywhere in all responsibilities. Of course, he had qualified Vaishnavas. And if you don't have qualified Vaishnavas, sometimes you have to have people who are not inimical, even though they're not Vaishnavas. And the example is, in the Gurukul, the principal before me was an impersonalist.
Wow.
He was an impersonalist, but he was more like a Brahmavadi. He loved the devotees. But when I met him, when he was like 98 or something, I went to visit him. And he said, the only thing I couldn't understand by Prabhupada, he couldn't understand that this Vaishnavism, but he respected the devotees like anything. But it just shows you, but of course, Vaishnavas are the best, but these were qualified people. And purport, material creation is called Srishti because the world, the living entities, rather than being created from nothing, are sent forth in each new creation. When Gop Kumar took up the position of creator, he brought many advanced Vaishnavas into his universe and assigned them to the posts of Indra, Surya, Chandra, Prajapati, and other demigods. When the universe winds up, somehow or other, it merges into the collective false ego, and then they come out again. Your soul comes out again with a particular ego, and it's according to your karma, and it says, Prabhupada described that the Vedic adventure is you have to catch the truth. And if you don't catch the truth, what is that verse? Again and again, again and again, again and again, like the waves of the ocean cover the sand, again and again, again and again. We've been spit out so many times since time immemorial, trying to catch the truth. And if we don't, we go back in. So when it goes back in, and the qualified living entities, the Vaishnavas, he starts putting them in the posts. So you can see he doesn't have the Sambandha Gyan, but he has this sentiment that really lets him know that it's bhakti. Arranging for the Almighty Lord to be worshipped in all directions with great sacrifice like Ashwamedha, I flooded the universe with joy. So the mudham, purai, flooded the universe with joy. That's the purpose of a leader. Of course, part of the joy is having the proper socioeconomic, many things are there. You know, no one should go hungry, everybody should be safety, the criminals should be in check. We have the story of King Anga, when he had that son Venu, Vena, when he had that son Vena was so cruel that he would go out and he would kill his classmates. Another psychological aberration, a sociopath. His son was a sociopath. He'd go out to play and he'd kill his. I mean, I've seen kids that want to do that, but never had the power. And they were kind of, and he was so ashamed because he's a king that he had it. He just left everything. And then when he left, there was no strong leader. So what happens is, if there's not a strong leader, the rogues and the thieves come out. So then they didn't know what to do, but this Vena at least had the Shakti. So because there's a Mogavira, seminal succession, he had the Shakti. You got to be very powerful. Prabhupada once said, he was talking about the war with Cambodia or something. He said if the American leader became Krishna conscious, he would say, you harm one hair on the head of our man, there'll be fight. You know, like a powerful person. People become fearful of doing something wrong. And if you don't have that, they take advantage. So when the king was gone, the rogues and thieves were just taking over. The Brahmins didn't know what to do, so they made Vena, and Vena was so strong, he stopped all the rogues and thieves. But because he was demoniac, he was also stopping the sacrifice. So that the Brahmins said, we feel like we're ants on a log that's burning from both sides. Because if we get rid of Vena, the rogues and the thieves will consume us. And if we install him, he'll consume us. So they did some mantras, they got rid of him, and they produced from him Prithu, which was a saintly king. So, and now this shows his qualities. Even though I was encumbered with the post of the supreme authority of the universe, what ego when you're like a powerful person, right? President of one of the big countries, and you walk, and wherever you walk, and people respect you. It's so hard to be spiritual, and we saw this in our movement when these young men, I wrote about it. I think maybe Rameshwar was like 28 when Prabhupada left, like 6 years of devotee, he became a guru. Bhagavan may have been 29, 9 years of devotee. And then all of a sudden, they had the position of Prabhupada. And by Prabhupada's energy, the movement was still going, and there was so many people, and they were worshipped at such a high level. I told the story, we were worried about one guru, his Vyasa society. He was getting palaces in Europe because, they were driving the young men and women out on Sankirtan and collecting, and so much money was coming in, and they had that energy, and it was for guru, and, there's a spirit. And he had palaces, and he had these huge Vyasa-sans. I've never seen Vyasa-sans so high. And the God brothers had to go to the Guru Puja of the Acharyas. I always tell this story, we're becoming worried. What is this? In Mayapur, there were 11 vyasa for the 11 acharyas. And there was a Sanskrit song composed to glorify them that you sung at Guru Puja. And it was a simultaneous Guru Puja with Prabhupada. And the godbrothers had to go. And there was this song, Kirtananda Bhagavan Rama, it had, and they sing these names. So I told you, we just like, I don't know if this is right. So I remember I went with a few people to Narayan March because Prabhupada said we can consult, the senior Vaishnavas. And so he said, he seems to be so attached to sitting on a big seat. Will he fall? And Narayan March said he's already fallen. So what to speak of becoming like Lord Brahma, that's above Indra. Indra's already in trouble. Right? We already saw Indra got, somebody's wife already. It's like Lord, it's the material universe. And Gop Kumar, Vishayavini Vartante, Niraharasya Dayana, Rasorajam, Rasopyasya Param. When you have the higher taste of bhakti, then you're not allured by these things. You don't want these things. You want this. You want your head bowed down, not jai, and lifted up. You want your head down, and this is the leaving the center, to be the servant. You understand that in the center, that abhiman, that I am the center, I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. It's the place, it's the one place where love does not flow. So when you get that position of love, of service, then these other things have no attraction for you. But icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharta. We're born into this world overcome with the dualities of desire and hate, so it's so inherent in us, the false ego. But Gop Kumar, even though I was you talk about glorified by the Maharshis, the Brahmarshis, the Prasana Vedas, the Agamas, Puranas, Itihasas, and even though I was surrounded by great sources of delight, I did not give up my natural akinchanatam, simplicity. I have nothing. I'm simple. And purport, without the strong spiritual qualifications of true humility and devotion to the Supreme, no one could avoid becoming intoxicated by the material power and facility enjoyment given by Gop Kumar. I was in the basement of the Brooklyn Temple in 1971, 54 years ago. And I was visiting, and it was such an impressive place. The spiritual all-stars of ISKCON were there with the press, and they were famous kirtaneers. Agni Dev, Jai Sachinandana, Vishnu Gadada, they were great kirtaneers. And then there were great cooks. The cooks were famous. And then there were great speakers, Jayadvaita Maharaj, Jadharani, they were great. They were famous. So I came, and I come for lunch, and it was so expertly cooked. It was amazing. Amazing. The hot, spicy dal, kind of liquidy, but spicy. And the chapatis were just so whole wheat. And you'd sit in lines, and it was completely quiet, and you're listening to a tape. And I told this many times, and it was like a speaker on the wall. And the prasadam was served in a little red wagon. They would wheel the red wagon, they serve it. And it was so delicious. And I heard this tape from Prabhupada. I never forgot. It wasn't Prabhupada, it was someone repeating Prabhupada who said, if all my devotees became Krishna conscious, we can take, oh, the light can be turned on now. You can turn on the second one on the right. Okay, good. Yeah, shut that. Okay. Prabhupada said, if all my devotees, this is much better for speaking, you see people. If all my devotees become Krishna conscious, we can take over the world in 18 days. And then that always lingered with me, and what that meant is that if people would get the world, they would lose their Krishna consciousness. If they weren't sufficiently strong, as Prabhupada said, in the qualification of true humility and devotion, they become intoxicated. And that's what happened. That's what happened. As Bṛhad once said, we were all pure devotees until we got a taste for power. Young devotees, it was wild. I don't know how Prabhupada did it. It was just young, fired up devotees dealing through all their issues and they culture and not really sufficiently knowledgeable and realized and running around and the story about when Miss Toyota took over the Brooklyn temple? What? The temple president, right? He was a sannyasi and he met this lady. And she was actually a fraud. But she was Japanese. And she posed herself as the heir to Toyota. And they took over the temple, right? And some devotees, I think Gopal Krishna was one of them, they actually, because everybody's trained, follow the authority. They actually complained to Prabhupada and it was like revealed. So all these things were going on. It was so fired up, so austere. I think in the Brooklyn temple, there were so many devotees, if you can find a sleeping place under the sink, it was just so fired up. But look at Gop Kumar, his qualification. It's a kinchana. He wasn't attached to things because he was a Bṛhad-bhāsi. He was attached to cows, right? Brajadevi, cows, right? You become attached to cows, it's more than having things, right? Cows and flowers and birds. This is like the real Vrindavan. This is the real Vrindavan. Nonetheless, the great sages and the revealed personified attended him, singing his praises and presenting themselves for his services, his pleasure. But he did not think of himself as something special, as anything other than a humble devotee of the Lord of the universe, Srimad Gopal. It's so beautiful, natural, simple humility. And within that is the taste of Krishna consciousness. So this is Gop Kumar's quality. Even so, I was so immersed in the waves of the ocean of Brahma's duties, and therefore unable to enjoy devotional service to the Lord as I had before. My mind was too disturbed by anxious concerns. Still, he had all the waves of an ocean, kritadi, magna, immersed in the ocean of the waves of Brahma's duties. I don't know how my God brothers do it. So many responsibilities and so many headaches. And then just somehow continuing on and continuing on. Well, I sit here all morning chanting. I once told Dhanurdhara Swami, he was so busy, I said, we'd make a good match. You're overworked and I'm unemployed. Once again, Gopkumar encountered circumstance that awakened within him a desire to go to even a better place. With so much responsibility on his shoulders, life on Satyaloka was troublesome. Brahma's unavoidable duties were unlimited and deep like an ocean, and Gopkumar felt himself drowning in the churning waves. Even Prabhupada said at the end of his life that I wish my disciples would take responsibility so that I could do Nirjan Bhajan. Prabhupada said that. Did you like that quote, Yogamaya, where Prabhupada said Radha Krishna Bhajan at the end of his life? You remember that?
The one you spoke to.
Yeah.
It was, I never heard it before. So
I know, it's right there in the purport.
it's amazing.
It is. It
It's
is.
mind-blowing, actually.
It is. It is.
And what does it really mean? Like deeply, what does it really mean? What the Krishna Bhajan?
Exactly what it meant. All our problems will be gone if we do Radha Krishna Bhajan. Yeah, you know, I'm listening further on to the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, the Vaikuntha-vasis talking about Nam Sankirtan. It's the most important thing. You know, and when I was sitting there at the Radha Kund in Sri Rupa Seva Kunj, I can see devotees trying to finish their rounds, like chanting and talking and chanting and walking, and you know what I'm saying? And just thinking that this Nam Sankirtan is like the most important thing. You can't forget its importance. In the class with Niranjan Swami, something came up and Sabyasachi's there, so sometimes we say, okay, you can say something. So he said, like with chanting, it was very nice. Because I was explaining that our absorption in the holy name is based on sambandha, our relationship with the holy name. It's already almost time to end. I'll just go a few more minutes because I like to keep things here in the spiritual world. No one has a job, but I'm speaking to people over the internet who work for a living. But when you're in the spiritual world, no one works. There's no one here who has a job, so I could go longer, but I'll make a compromise. I'll go 5 more minutes. So I was speaking about Yogamaya.
You said of Radha Krishna Bhajan, and then you shifted.
Our absorption in the holy name is dependent.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so on sambandha, on absorption. Our absorption is dependent on relationship. So Sabyasachi said 2 things, and I was doing this morning, it was great, that our absorption will depend on Krishna's mercy. And you get Krishna's mercy. When you chant Krishna's name, it gives so much pleasure to Radha. And when you chant Radha's name, it gives so much pleasure to Krishna. So I was chanting today, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, for the pleasure, of Krishna, Radha's name. And then I was chanting some things, thinking of Krishna, Krishna. And then he said, and of course, he said, one way you look at sambandha is Hare Krishna is bringing Radha and Krishna together. That's real sambandha. So nice realizations. Okay, so we will continue on 153 next time. Because what happened is Gopkumar, even though he was Lord Brahmā, and he had this incredible lifetime of 1,000 times 4,320,000 times 2 times 100 times 365 as his lifetime, he heard that he would die at the end of the lifespan, and he became afraid. And then he chanted his mantra, and he started remembering Braja, and then he became in such distress in separation from Braja. Yeah. Okay. Jamuna Jaya, you'd like to say hello to our group? And
Hi, everybody. Hello. Oh, I'm very dark today. Thank you, Mirage, for class. I really love that point of who's there. Hey, Yoga Maya. Hey, Amaladharada. Haribo. Hey, guys. Mirage, I really like the point of how you said separation is sadness, but it's an expression of love, which is ecstasy. That was so beautiful. There's the love and the separation. And I remember feeling that like in small parts when I'm so separated from not being able to go, but I feel a joy in it. So that's just a great explanation. Separation is sadness, but because it's love, it's actually ecstasy. Thank you, Raj.
okay, Haribo, what's on your plate today?
Well, I'm actually I'm a little under the weather, so I'm taking a sick day until I'll just rest up and I'll be good for my classes tonight. But I'm a little stuffy and stuff today, so
Amazing. You take a day off. Okay, anybody else like
yeah.
to say hello quickly?
Hi, Krishna Maharaj.
Gail, Haribo.
Can I ask a quick question?
A quick one, Gail.
Okay. When is, because you said everybody wants intimacy, right? Everybody wants to love and be loved. So when is that desire for intimacy selfish?
The intimacy is combined with the desire for service.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, on that high platform, everything is connected with love. But it's natural. When you love someone, you want to be with them. In other words, your desire is love, your desire is service, but other desires come from that naturally, but it's not your motive.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, how about anybody else like to say hello?
Hello,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Hey,
This is Denny in Ohio.
where you headed?
I'm actually pulling into work right now, Maharaj. I work 9 to 5. I'm one of them guys. But
You
I
want
was
to?
wondering, if is there a way to email you or anything? I'd
Yeah,
like
you
to
can
talk.
email me. You can email
Can
me.
somebody send me your email?
Yeah, okay, send Denny the email. Denny, say hello to everyone here.
Harry Bo, good morning, Harry Bo.
Okay,
Wonderful.
well,
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
you're from Pennsylvania?
No, I'm in Ohio. I usually stay in New Bṛhad most of the time. Yeah, but I live in Ohio.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks for coming on to class.
Oh,
Okay,
always a blessing. Always a blessing.
okay,
Hare
okay.
Krishna, Guru Maharaj Narmasak is here. Thank you for the class.
Namasaki.
Haribo.
Happy for you, huh?
Everybody, I miss you so much.
Thank you. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm waiting. Thank you
Okay,
for the visit.
Yabad Sundari,
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Thank you very much for the class.
how are you getting such good reception?
I'm in Tehran for a day.
Okay, say
I had a
hello to
meeting
everyone.
actually. Yeah.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hi, everybody. Hi, nice to see everybody. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, big day's coming up soon.
Yes, it's coming.
Be in a place where you have good internet reception.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm trying for my best, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Jai Shri Radhe. I wrote.
I just sent Danny your email address in the private message. I hope he still hears
Thank
us.
you. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm looking at the different people that are on the class today. Thank you all. We'll end now. Vanchakalpa Turubhishya Kripasindu Bheva